Words of Radiance is the second book of the Stormlight Archive. I listened to this one on audiobook. It's a very long audiobook, but this book was fantastic. The Way of Kings, I thought it was okay. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was a little disjointed because you're following three characters mainly. There's a high prince, there's a scholar, and a slave. And there is the characters barely have any interaction till the end, and it felt a little disjointed, and it felt like very prologue-ish. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of like setup, a lot of magic system stuff, world building. But the second one is like the payoff book, and like everything happens in this book. Like literally, I had goosebumps like multiple times through this book, man. I usually don't get that emotional when reading or listening to a book, but man, this book just freaking went off the rails. Like giant action sequences like in the middle. It's perfectly paced. There's this huge climax. Something that I didn't like in Sanderson's Memory of Light book, no spoilers or anything, but he likes to do this thing where he switches perspectives like every page or like every half a page, and it was really choppy for that whole book. But he does that for this book, but it's a lot more refined in this one. Because there's a lot of characters that they're hopping in between. There's like maybe like 6 or 7 that they're just, but it's just done for the finale, for the last like, I want to say 100 pages or so. That it worked this time around because they didn't hop around too much, but also because it manages to keep up a bubbling tension throughout, until the denouement anyway. But I think the greatest part about this book is that it does give you some amazing payoff action sequences in the middle of the book, at the beginning and near the end. So like you get a little bit of everything throughout the book. It's not just at the end, but also they sort of bring the three characters together. So it's almost like you're waiting for the characters to finally meet, and when they do, you're like, yay, they're finally meeting, because we've had an entire book where they're just like on another like part of the country or something. It's like when people watch Game of Thrones and characters meet when they're not supposed to, or they do, then you're like, ooh, yay, it's kind of like that. So all the three main characters are finally under one place, and they're interacting with each other, and they're doing things, and you're like, finally, because I've been waiting for this. And so there's some great action sequences in this book, set pieces that are just like, that'll just boggle your mind. Like I can think of like 4 big ones. So this is the book that sort of like shows you what happens when you're a patient with a book series, because the first book isn't short. It's like literally 1,000 pages. This one's like, I think like 1,300 or something. So yeah, Words of Radiance blew me away throughout. It just completely held me for the entire duration of like the 46-hour audiobook or whatever, and I give it a 5 out of 5.